For a lot of businesses, data privacy law just feels like a headache. A bunch of rules you have to follow to avoid getting fined. But what if that's the completely wrong way to look at it? What if handling customer data the right way is actually one of your biggest opportunities to build trust and win their loyalty for life? Let's dive in.
And this quote from Canada's privacy commissioner, man, it just gets right to the heart of a huge shift that's happening. Privacy isn't some background legal thing anymore. For your customers, it's a deciding factor. They are actively, literally, choosing who to do business with based on who they trust with their information. And that right there changes everything.
So here's the best way to think about this. It's not about legal compliance. Not really. At its core, good data privacy is just a form of customer respect. It's you sending a clear signal to your customers that you value them and their information. And that is the foundation of any solid business relationship. Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you put that respect into practice and stay on the right side of the law here in Canada? Well, the answer is a framework called FPIC, and you should really think of it as your official guidebook for building that trust with your customers' data. So what is FPIC? Well, it stands for the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act. To put it simply, it's Canada's big federal privacy law for the private sector. It's the official rulebook that sets the ground rules for how businesses have to collect, use, and share personal information whenever they're doing any kind of commercial activity. And you might be thinking, okay, does this really apply to me? Well, you'd probably be surprised by just how broad its reach is. We're talking about private sector businesses of all sizes, from a tiny local startup to a huge corporation. It covers federally regulated industries like banks and airlines. And here's the real kicker. Even if your business isn't located in Canada, if you're collecting personal data from Canadians for business, say just from an IP address hitting your website, then yep, PIPEDA applies to you. Okay, so at the absolute core of PIPEDA, you've got these 10 fair information principles. Now, don't let the name fool you. This is not some dry legal list. The best way to think of this is as the 10 essential rules of the road for handling data respectfully and safely. Yep, 10. The entire framework is built on these 10 core ideas. We're going to walk through them with a simple set of do's and don'ts, starting with the foundational rules that every single business needs to get right from the get-go. All right, first up, the absolute foundations, accountability and purpose. For accountability, you have to appoint someone who is responsible for privacy. It can't just be an afterthought someone gets to. And for purpose, you have to know and state exactly why you're collecting information before you even ask for it. The big don't here, don't fall into that trap of collecting data just in case it might be useful later. You have to be intentional. And that, of course, leads right into the next huge one, consent. This means you need to get clear, informed permission in plain language. None of that hiding it in tiny fine print or confusing legal jargon. And this is critical. You can't force someone to consent to giving you non-essential data just to use your service. Like, a customer shouldn't have to agree to get marketing emails just to buy a t-shirt. It has to be a real choice. Which brings us perfectly to this idea of, let's call it data minimalism. First, only collect what is absolutely necessary for the purpose you already stated. If you don't need it, don't ask for it. Simple. Second, limit how long you keep it. Think of data as having a shelf life. Once you've done what you said you were going to do with it, you need a plan to get rid of it securely. Okay, next up, safeguards. You have a serious responsibility to protect the information you hold, and this means building a multi-layered shield. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of physical stuff like locked filing cabinets, technological tools like encryption and firewalls, and organizational controls like really good staff training and limiting who can even see the data. And look, your job doesn't end the second you've collected the data. You have to make sure it stays accurate and up to date. And you absolutely must be open and honest about how you're doing all this. Your privacy policy should be easy to find, easy to read, and clearly explain what you do. Transparency is everything when it comes to building trust. And last but definitely not least, we've got the principles that are all about empowering the individual, your customer. People have a right to see the information you have about them, they have a right to challenge it if it's wrong, and they have a right to complain. You have to have clear, respectful ways for them to do all of those things, because at the end of the day, it's their data and they have rights over it. All right, so following those 10 principles, that's your absolute best defense. But, sometimes things still go wrong. So what happens when your safeguards fail and you have a data breach? Well, the stakes are high, and how you respond is absolutely critical. So first off, let's be super clear on what we're talking about. What is a data breach? It's any loss of or unauthorized access to personal information that happens because your security safeguards failed. It could be some super sophisticated hack, or it could be as simple as an employee losing a laptop. The cause doesn't matter as much as the result. So if a breach happens, PIPEDA lays out a mandatory 4-step process you have to follow. Step 1. You assess the risk. Does it create a real risk of significant harm? We're talking about things like identity theft, financial loss, or even damage to someone's reputation. If the answer is yes, then Step 2, you report it to the Office of the Privacy Commissioner. Step 3, you notify the people who were affected directly. And finally, Step 4, you must keep a detailed record of every single breach, big or small, for at least 2 years. Okay, I know all of this can sound a little daunting, but it really doesn't have to be. Getting compliant is just about taking clear, methodical steps. So let's build your action plan right now. So the real question is, are you ready? Are you ready to turn all this legal stuff into a powerful way to build trust and protect your customers? Let's look at exactly what you can do starting today to get this going. All right, here it is, your starter checklist. 1. Appoint that privacy officer. Make someone accountable. 2. Do a data inventory. You can't protect what you don't know you have. 3. Write a clear, easy-to-find privacy policy. 4. Train your staff. This one is non-negotiable. Privacy is a team sport. And 5. Make this a living process. Don't just set it and forget it. Review and update what you're doing regularly. You know, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one really powerful idea. This isn't just about following the law to avoid a fine. Protecting data is about proactively earning and maintaining the trust of your customers. So the real question isn't whether you can afford to do this, it's whether you can afford not to.